Hello friends, how are y'all? Welcome to my new video and happy 2025. I never said that in my last video, but it's 2025. That's literally insane. Like the number 2025 is crazy to me. Like we're here. But yeah, happy new year. Hope y'all are all doing well. I am gonna be filming a video today that I've wanted to do for a while. I've always wanted to do book reviews, and today we're gonna be doing a full-blown book review of all 29 books that I read in 2024. My reading goal for 2024 was 24 books, and then I got to 24 in like October, I think, and I just kept going, and my next goal was actually 30, but I didn't get to 30, I got to 29, and I'm okay with that. It's just like 29 is such a weird number, so I got to 29 books, and yesterday I went through and I ranked each book from worst to best, and that was a feat. Like that took me probably 2 hours of sitting here and brainstorming, but I have a list for you today. We're gonna go through that list. I don't have every physical copy of every book because a lot of them I rented from the library or they're at my dad's house, but I have a few over here, and then if I don't have it, I'm just gonna pop it up on the screen and I'm gonna give y'all how many stars I rated it, what's its ranking, and then just like a quick little review. I want to preface this with this is my rating, this is my review, and I don't have a specific way I ordered all of this. It was kind of just based on vibes. So if you don't agree with my rating, that's okay, but don't come for me, okay? Because some of them are probably a little out of the box. If you're a reader, you're gonna be like, But if you're not a reader, just sit back and enjoy. We're gonna start off with the books that I gave 2 stars. I gave 3 books 2 stars this year. I didn't give any books 1 star, which I am surprised by that, but I think I'm a pretty generous rater. So if I gave them 2 stars, that meant I just really didn't enjoy them. At 29, I have The Broken Puppet. I was actually lent this book by a friend. So if this friend sees this, I'm so sorry, but it was just not my cup of tea. Very violent, I would say, very schmexual, if you get my drift, and the writing was just so casual. A lot of it was giving as if you were in the narrator's head and like her thoughts, but it was kind of like slang words, so just not my cup of tea. I'm just not one of those like dark romance gals, so she's at 29. My 28th book is gonna be Radio Silence. I feel like a lot of people would not agree with this rating, but I really didn't like it. I felt like it was very childish, which I do think it's a young adult fiction book, but even then I love Alice Osman and I love Heartstopper, so I kind of had higher expectations for this book. It felt pretty slow. I also listened to this book over audio on Audible, which I do believe that listening to books counts as reading them. I know that's a big debate, but I counted the 2 books I listened to on Audible. I thought it was cute, but it's gonna go at 28. 27 is honestly a very hot take, and I'm just gonna go for it. The Housemaid is Watching. Freida McFadden is my favorite author, and then you will see so many of her books in this video, but this book was so disappointing, and the reason why it's so low too is because I compared it to the first and second books, because this is the 3rd book in the series and it just was not needed. It was kind of boring. I think if you read the other 2, you kind of have to read this one to close it out, but even then I would skip it maybe. Sorry, Freida. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the 3-star books. I have quite a few in this category, so strap in. At 26, we have The Last Thing He Told Me. This is here because I just don't even really remember what the book is about, if I'm being honest, and I didn't read it that long ago. When I went to like look at my Goodreads and figure out this video, the review I had written for this book was 2 sentences long. And I usually can write a pretty long paragraph for a review, so it just felt very slow to me. It felt like the ending was bad, so that's why she's there. She's just nothing special. At number 25, we have The Guest List. I have seen this book a lot on Book Talk. I just think it's pretty mediocre. A lot of the characters really annoyed me, if I'm being honest. Like, I felt like they were all flawed to the point that I was like, where is a single good character? I don't know. That might be a hot take. I don't know. But it was just really slow. And that's going to be a common theme amongst all of these 3 stars is they're all really slow. And I love a fast-paced book. So that's why she's at 25. At 24, we have A Flicker in the Dark, another Book Talk book, I feel like. Once again, very slow. This book left me with so many questions, which I hate when books do that. I don't mind a cliffhanger, but if I know for sure like this is a standalone book and I'm questioning what's going on at the end, that's just so unsatisfying and it's just a no for me. But this was my 24th book of the year and it's at 24 now, so that's a coincidence. At 23, we have People We Meet on Vacation. I know everyone loves Emily Henry. I think this is the only Emily Henry book I've read. I am just not a romance girl. And then also, it's about a girl best friend and a boy best friend. Like, I just don't think anyone really wants to hear about that when they're like in a relationship. I don't know. I didn't really like it. Okay, at 22, we have The Ex. This is another Frida book. This is a very old book. I thrifted this one and I liked it. I thought it was okay. It was just really confusing in the end. I had to go back and reread some parts, which I just don't think that's effective when you're writing a mystery book. Like, you should be able to just like write the twist and then have the person be like shocked. Whereas I read the twist and I was like, what? And I had to go back and reread it. So that's why this is here. This is just not a book I would recommend. Number 21 is The Perfect Son. I like this book. I just think it's really simple and I guess the plot twist, and I don't like when I can guess a plot twist. I'm picky about that, and I just think there's better books. I don't know what happened here, but I put 3 Frida books in a row. Number 20 is The Coworker. If you've heard anything about this book, you know that it has a lot to do with turtles, and I think it took me out of the book all the time. Every time a turtle was mentioned, I was like, why? It was kind of giving It Ends With Us with Ellen DeGeneres. Just why? That's just really random. I don't know. It also felt pretty repetitive, but the ending was good, so she's there. 19 is Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I actually really enjoyed this book. I would recommend this book if you're into, I don't know how to explain it, like the characters play with time sort of, but it's a mystery and it's just really frustrating, but honestly in a good way. I think the only reason why this book is lower is because it is kind of slow at the beginning, but the ending is so good. At 18, we have Never Lie by Frida. And this is probably one of her most famous books, but I just didn't really like it. I found it very entertaining and I found it fast-paced, but I found it really hard to believe and a little bit cheesy. But if you like the unreliable narrator trope, I would say go for this book. I just didn't like the ending. I didn't believe it, you know what I mean? Now we're moving into the books I gave 4 stars. At number 17, we have A Child Called It. This book is so heavy. I don't recommend reading it. I think it's really good, but it's just really, really incredibly sad. It's gonna make you so uncomfortable. It is about child and yeah, good book, good writing, would not recommend. At number 16, I have The List. I listened to this one on Audible and I really enjoyed listening to this. This is actually the first book I've ever listened to the whole way through on Audible, and I really enjoyed the narrators. I think they were British, but they were the type of narrators that like didn't make me annoyed, because that's like a weird pet peeve I have about audiobooks. But it was just a really interesting book. The subject was complex. It is about social media and the patriarchy and SA. Yeah, that's what I'll say. So a lot of heavy topics, but I felt like the book did well with it and I just really enjoyed it. At number 15, I have Lightlark, which this is another kind of, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's a hit or miss. Some people really like this book. Some people really hate it or think it's cheesy. I really liked this. I'm not a big like fantasy magic person when it comes to reading, but I gave this a shot and I just thought it was really cute. I liked the romance aspect as well as like the action, I guess. I don't know what you would call that, but very cute. I also bought the second one to read, so I will be reading that in 2025. At number 14, I have Then She Was Gone. This was my last book of 2024, so this is fresh on my mind. I thought this was pretty good. It is another TikTok book. It's a mystery, a thriller. It's just pretty sad at the end and had some characters that are a little frustrating, but overall a pretty good book. At number 13, I have We Were Liars. I actually got this book at the thrift store and it's signed, so that's kind of crazy. Shout out to whoever donated this, but I really like this book. I know a lot of people say it's cheesy, and it's kind of the same thing with Lightlark, where some people think it's a little too like silly, but I liked it. I liked the characters, I liked the romance aspect, and I really liked the ending. I didn't guess it, so I recommend. 12 is The Perfect Marriage. This book has a very interesting premise. It's about a wife and a husband and a mistress. The mistress and the wife is a lawyer, I think, an attorney, defense attorney, and she defends her husband. So really interesting, really good ending. I liked this one a lot. At number 11, I have Behind Closed Doors. This is different than your average mystery book because there's not really a mystery to it. You always know what's going on. You're just waiting for something to happen. It's more thriller, and it definitely made me feel very anxious in a good way. And there was a very sweet sister dynamic in this book that I loved. Number 10, I have The Silent Patient, and my rating is probably a little controversial because a lot of people give this book 5 stars and I only gave it 4, but I found this book to be a little confusing, I'm not gonna lie. And I loved the ending. I loved the connections with Alcestis. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I loved all of that, but it was another one where I had to reread a little bit to understand it, and yeah, I still really recommend it though. Number 9 is What Moves the Dead, and this one was a wild card for me. I would not normally reach for this type of creepy, scary book, but I really, really enjoyed it. It gave a classical vibe without the hard to read part. It was really easy to read, and it had me genuinely creeped out. Like I would lay in my bed and think about it a little bit, and I couldn't read it at night. Now we're gonna move into the 5-star ones. These were my top 8 and they're all so good. I recommend all of these. At number 8, I have The Teacher. This one is so uncomfy, but so good. And if you are a teacher, or actually if you were a student, I don't know, if you were a person, you're gonna be uncomfy reading this book, but it had me hooked. It was so good. And the epilogue. At number 7, I have The Housemaid's Secret, which is crazy because I put this one at what, number 27? Yeah, these are 20 books apart. Oh my gosh, though, this is so good. The plot, the idea behind this book, I loved it. I loved it even more than the first one. I love the main character. You start rooting for her, you fall in love with her, and the ending was so good, per usual. At number 6, I have another Frida book. This is probably my favorite Frida book. It is The Inmate. I just cannot say enough good things about this book. The ending is literally wild. The whole book has you whiplashing like left and right. You never know who to trust. You never know who's telling the truth. I loved this book, and once again, the epilogue. Must read, must read. At number 5, I have another kind of wild card. This one is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. I think that's what it's called. It's kind of a long title, but this book is just kind of a coming of age book. It deals with mental health. It deals with religion and finding yourself. It's just so heartfelt and emotional, and I love it. I recommend it to any of the girlies who like books that will just make them think about their life and their purpose and stuff. Like that's the kind of book this book is. At number 4, I have I'm Glad My Mom Died. This book is amazing. It is popular for a reason, but it is very hard to read. It's very unsettling and sad, and it will make you angry. It'll make you cry. So if you read this book, check the trigger warnings, but the writing is so good. The storytelling so good, and Jeanette McCurdy, I feel for her and I love her, especially after reading this book. At number 3, I have The Hunger Games, which I feel like a lot of people would put that so high, but it's such a classic at this point. I don't even know. Everyone's read it. I'm surprised it took me this long to read it. It's so good. It's much better than the movie, like everyone says, and the movies are amazing. So read it. I haven't read the other ones. I need to read them this year. At number 2, I have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. That's a long title. I love this book. I will probably reread this book at some point. It is so sweet, so emotional, so cute. I don't know. I'm not a fantasy magical person, like I said, but this book means the world to me. It's about a witch who is in hiding because she's a witch, and she gets a message from this person saying, hey, I have 3 little witches that I need you to teach how to be a witch. And she goes on this amazing journey, and she I don't even know, I'm not gonna spoil any of it, but and at number 1, drumroll please, The Gracier. This is the best book I've ever read. My sister recommended me this book, and I'm so glad she did. Editing Victoria here, I realized I did not give y'all like a good description of this book. I just said a bunch of nice things about it, but basically this book is about a dystopian society where everyone's really misogynistic. At 16, all of the women are sent away for what's called the Grace Year, because it's believed that all of the women have this magic within them. Everything is super mysterious. You don't know what the magic is. You don't know what the Grace Year is. And it's literally a whole year where the women are sent into the woods, and you have to read to figure out what happens. It's literally insane. The book deals with friendship, love, family dynamics, like everything you could hope for in a book is in this book, and it's just so deep, so complex. I've heard that it's pretty similar to The Handmaid's Tale. I've never watched or read that, but very similar themes and just very empowering. At the end of the book, I felt like I could go into the world and just do anything I ever wanted. So that's the vibe this book gives, and I will recommend this book till the day I die. Okay guys, that was my review of the 29 books I read for 2024. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and a comment and subscribe to my channel. Hopefully you liked this video, because I liked making it and I love reading. So if you want more book reviews in the future, let me know.